they would take a handheld device, the female gray, she would take a handheld device, and I would feel her take my covers and remove them. And then I would feel her take a scanner device and run it from my head all the way down to the bottom to my feet, toes, then all the way back up. And my body would start to vibrate.
Welcome back to the Eye of Jupiter podcast. I'm your host, Tom Franklin, and today we have one special guest, Nancy Thames, all the way from the great state of Mississippi. If you like the show, if you like my content, please do me a favor, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Without further ado, let's welcome to the Eye of Jupiter podcast, Mrs. I hope I don't get that wrong. Oh, she's going to correct me, I'm pretty sure. Nancy Thames.
It's Miss.
It's Miss.
Yeah.
That's a good way to start off the show. Sorry about that.
No, I don't care. Yeah.
So how are you doing today, Nancy?
Oh, I'm doing great. The weather here is pretty raunchy today, but that's okay. Kids got out.
What does that mean?
Early,
what does that mean?
Yeah.
I've never experienced raunchy weather. What is raunchy weather?
Tornado Alley. This is Tornado Alley that comes through here. All the way starts in Oklahoma and comes all the way through Mississippi over into Alabama. So, you know, people here, they freak out in the South. We don't know how to handle snow, storms, or tornadoes. Everybody just closes up shop and goes home.
Yeah. So, I lived in Kansas for a year and a half when I was in the military, and the colors, like the turquoise sky, I mean, every evening we'd have like a tornado watch, like every evening. Yeah. So yeah, I kind of understand that. I mean, I'm kind of dealing with some raunchy weather too. We're in our low to mid 90s, and it's going to hit upper 90s next week, and I'm out on the roof doing solar panels.
So, oh my goodness, you better hurry.
I have my bosses from Holland, and I'm like, dude, if we're going out on the ranch, because I'm here in the Yucatan Peninsula to do some panels for, for the farm hands or the ranch hands, let's do that early in the morning. Like, let's get out of it like 4, and let's get out there early, because I tell you, I turn into bacon out here. It's crazy. Yeah. So, Nancy Thames, do me a favor for the Eye of Jupiter listeners, watchers, viewers. Tell us a little bit about yourself and where we can find you.
Okay. My name is Nancy Thames. I am a lifelong contactee with interdimensional beings and positive extraterrestrials. And this has been happening all my life since birth. And my first conscious memory started around 2-3 years old. And I've always had them to come visit me. And the interdimensionals use, I always have 3 grays that come for me. And these are some hybrid grays that were designed by the interdimensionals and the tall grays. And they send them down to get contactees. And the reason they design them is because extraterrestrials and interdimensionals really don't like the density here on Earth. So they design these, tweak their DNA so that they could do the back and forth leg work for them. So basically, they send the same 3. I am bonded with the female gray. She is a reddish brown color. She's about 4 foot tall, and we are bonded. We have a long-going relationship. She is very task oriented, and a lot of people think that they're robotic, but they are not. They are biological, but they have no personality whatsoever and have no signs of showing emotion. But they do love and they do care, and I know
Wow.
this and sense this from her. So they always
Us-
contactees always. I think you'll hear from other people that they travel in threes. Why they do that, I don't know, but they do.
So, so how are they contacting you?
Well, they appear in my room or appear wherever I am. Before they get here, I have a, I feel their frequency and I feel it and I know they're coming. And it doesn't matter whether I want it to happen or not, it's going to happen. So I don't know if they do that on purpose or if I'm just that in tune with them. And when I was younger, when they would first come, um, I would be in bed and sometimes I would be asleep, but then I would wake up because I would feel their presence. And they would take a handheld device, the female gray, she would take a handheld device and I would feel her take my covers and remove them. And then I would feel her take a scanner device and run it from my head all the way down to the bottom to my feet, toes, then all the way back up. And my body would start to vibrate. And after a few times of her doing that, and it didn't physically touch me, it was just something that she was scanning above me. And then I would feel my body start to float up off the bed. And as that would happen, I would open my eyes and start looking around and see that I was holding her hand and she was guiding me, and that I would look down and see my bed is empty. So this was physically happening to me. But the part that I never could understand is although I could see myself holding her hand, but we were going up through the ceiling, going up through a wall, going through a window. And I never understood how this was physically happening because of us being in a 3D world. Those things aren't supposed to be able to happen. But like I said, this has been happening all my life. And as I've gotten older, they've given me more conscious time and allowed me to ask questions. And they explained to me that us being in a 3D world, we are at a very low frequency. So what they were doing was changing my frequency, elevating it up to match theirs. That way I could travel up through the ceiling or whatever as they do. So once they get me on craft, then I don't see her or the other grays at all. When I'm there, her job is done. So when then I am um, presented to interdimensionals, which are humanoids, but they don't necessarily look completely human. They are much, much taller, 7 to 8 feet, and they have some human features, but not exactly like us, and they're much paler
Okay.
than we are. So,
Okay.
and then there's tall grays, and I've met some reptilians and many other different type of beings.
Wow. Back on the when this podcast, well, before we split, I was on a podcast called Lost Frequency, and we had on Raphael Skitz Lugo, and he was telling us kind of the same thing when they came into the room. He said they would have like a wand, if I remember correctly, and they would do something to him, and he would also like kind of like levitate and go through the walls. And he was
Yeah.
explaining to us how he could taste the wood and the plaster in the walls. Were you experiencing, or have you been experiencing something similar?
I can, as I would be going through the wall, I would look around and see the insulation and all this, and in
Whoa.
my mind, I'm thinking, how are we doing this? And at the time when I was young, she would not answer me. And, and then later as I got older, she would say, you already know. So, I just kind of left it alone. And so this, like I said, once I get up there, then I'm around even aquatic beings sometime different type beings. But then when I come home, it's her and the other two but I don't even communicate with the other two. It's just her that is bonded to
Okay.
me. So
How does she communicate with you? I'm sorry,
Say
Nancy.
again?
How does she communicate? How does she communicate with you?
Telepathic. Yeah.
Telepathically.
And
Okay.
it's really strange. Like I hear everything she says, but it is not a male or female, and it has no inflection in the voice. When I'm on craft and I'm talking to the interdimensionals or the tall grays and the other beings, it's telepathic, but I I can tell it's male and female, and I can feel inflection. Like if they're trying to make a joke or trying to be stern, I can sense the inflection. But with her, because she's a hybrid, I really don't know any other reason other than that. I cannot sense, but I just know that she's female and that I'm
Wow.
bonded with her. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I completely understand that. What do you
Yeah. It's
mean, the
been,
circle back? What do you mean? Yes. What do you mean by on craft? Is that what the wording you use, on craft? What do you mean by that? Did you say
taken aboard craft, taken upon a UFO, taken aboard
you've,
a disc.
you've
And
been
before
taken
you
aboard?
get to yes, yes,
Oh, okay.
many times, yes.
Okay.
So, but here's another strange thing. As she's leading me there, when I see the disc, and it's just the typical, nothing fancy, no frills, just a typical metallic disc, no frills, no thrills, anything like that. But it looks like the size of half of a football field here in America. It looks like half the size. But
Uh-huh.
when you step in, everything changes. It
It's like
is
larger.
just
Is it larger?
enormous. Yes,
Yes.
everything.
Yes, I've heard this.
It's like, whoa, it's
This is the second
unreal.
time I've heard this, Nancy. That's
Mhm.
incredible. Wow. I love when
And
stories that I've heard from the past get corroborated by
yeah,
somebody else who's
and
never met each other.
And for
I love
me,
that.
everything is perfectly bright. Everything is bright. And for me, everything appeared white, bright and white, very sterile. And just the lighting, the thing about the lighting, you could never find, if you look for the light source where it's coming from, you'll never be able to find it. It's just there and it's perfect. It's not too bright, it's not too light, it's just perfect. And there's no way you know where it's even coming from.
Wow.
So
That's
it's not
amazing.
hard for me even in the past when I was younger to figure out that they are billions of years ahead of us. Our physics does not apply. Our terminology of what we call them and what we label things does not apply. Um,
Wow. Wow.
there's so many things that we have yet to learn and opportunities that will come available as we progress through this ascension that we're in, and also
Okay.
as we go through disclosure. And of course, there's two types of disclosure. There's the government that they're not really jumping at or anything. They're dragging it, but extraterrestrial disclosure. So there are two
Mhm.
different things, and one does not really coincide with one another. What
Uh-huh.
the extraterrestrials do and interdimensionals do, that's totally in their ballpark and makes no difference on what any governments do. They're more interested in humanity. They don't care about governments. They care about humanity. And the reason that they are here now, and they were not the ones that came here before, where you heard about the abductions or you heard about certain little things happening. What happened is that once the interdimensionals and all of the positive extraterrestrials realized that human beings, I'm talking about, this is a worldwide phenomenon. This is not isolated in any countries or anything. This is a worldwide phenomena. And when they sensed and saw that we are all reaching higher consciousness, then they said, okay, This is what they've been waiting on all this time, is for humanity to
Wow.
finally become higher consciousness and for us to realize they are not gods. They are not angels. They are simply beings that are billions of years ahead of us in evolution and all that goes with that. So when
Okay,
they
so
saw that we were evolving, they started coming into our galaxy, into our around in our solar system, all through around in great numbers and in motherships. And they told some of these lower rim extraterrestrials that I will call negative, but when I say negative, they are not demonic. They are just very self-centered and really don't care about any other race in the galaxy except for themselves. So
mhm,
when they came in here, they told these other random rogue extraterrestrials to leave humanity alone. And I think
okay,
if people look, you'll find that most abductees, all of these cases were from in the past, not so
okay.
much happening now. Not
Nance, do you?
all of, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You got a roll going, and I have so many questions. And
Go
do you
ahead.
think that these lower frequency, or however you describe them, are in somehow in connection with the government? Because
Yes,
I feel that there's right
yes.
that somehow they have control of them, or they're using some type of blackmail or something
They
against
traded
them.
out technology to
Okay.
be able to do that particular race. Um, so there's a couple of things we need to clarify. First of all, every single race, for example, there's many different races. There's not just one race. There are many different heights, many different colors, and from many different regions throughout the galaxy and different whatever from everywhere.
Okay.
So this was a rogue race, and there was a rogue race of reptilians and Anunnaki and Palladians, Arcturians. There's many different races. There's not one race of each kind. There's different. And most of the races, the majority of them, wish to see humanity prosper, wish to see us advance into higher consciousness and become family into the cosmic realm. But there are a lower minority of them that do not wish us to participate at all.
Okay.
And
Is
those are the ones that were here working with the government. And there was Nordics, there was a race of reptilians. There's like other races, it's not just one, but the race of grays that kind of got known for being abductors were doing, they were, most races all have a specific agenda or a specific task. Say, for example, in the different races, like they may all be genetic scientists or they may be all explorers. This particular group was doing genetic research. And so they traded out technology to be able to do this. And the initial agreement, from what I understand, they were supposed to stay within some kind of limitations. But the reason why the positive extraterrestrials and interdimensionals shunned upon them for doing this is because human beings are here on Earth by free will, which means no extraterrestrial race or interdimensional race, they are not supposed to step in and interfere with us. So when they did that, they were shunned upon and excommunicated. So they are not part of the collective consciousness of all of the positive extraterrestrials and interdimensional. They are on their own, and they are a rogue
wow.
league and a minority. So they showed me, and I saw video or show visions of all these craft leaving Earth when they knew that the big dogs, the interdimensionals, and all the positive extraterrestrials were coming. They knew they had met their match, and most of them left. But there are some that are still here. And
Hmm.
trying to do everything to maintain their power because they have latched in with certain black hats, certain powers that be over government, certain elites like the cabal, the Illuminati, these like really rich billionaires, elitists that have all the controlling interests and manipulate our governments to do what they want and suppress certain technology to keep humanity like little puppets and under their thumbnail. So,
Right.
and they're trying to keep us that way, but there's nothing they
Yes, but
can do because
they
we are
overplayed their
waking
hand.
up. Yeah, we
Yes,
are
they overplayed their
waking up.
hand.
Yes.
I'm with you,
Yes.
Nancy. So you're telling me that the positive ones are
They
by
are here
nature
now.
more powerful?
Oh,
They're more
yes.
powerful? Like,
The
and that's
interdimensionals
because,
have more technology, and they gave the positive extraterrestrials the ability to travel interdimensionally, but the realm negative will not be given that technology. So they are stuck within this galaxy, more or less. So
okay.
as long as they had control over us, they loved it because they were over us in every single way. But now we are going
Mm-hmm.
to reach higher consciousness and we are going to understand our place in the cosmic realm, understand our uniqueness. Our DNA is fixing to be tweaked. We're fixing to have parts of our DNA slowly activated to where we're going to realize we no longer need all of these old ways of living. Our banking systems are breaking down, our religions are breaking down, our food, our air, our water all have poisons and toxins in them. And all these things were done intentionally to keep us dumbed down. Our pineal
Oh,
gland
wow.
is shrunk because of the toxins in our air and food. And we are waking up and realizing all these things and we will start demanding changes and asking for things. And as this happens, we will have the interdimensionals will not come down here and fix everything, but they are here to assist us, to help us better our lives. And we can work on our longevities better. We will learn that all the pharmaceutical companies, these drugs they throw at us, we really don't need. When our earth was created, everything we ever needed was placed here as plants around the world. And they're either
Yes.
sitting on this technology or they're just being acting stupid about it. So
So what do you
there are
think?
cures for everything. So no
You were
more
saying,
poverty.
right. You were saying that the higher beings, the interdimensional beings, started to come down and pay attention to us when
Because
we started
of us
to,
reaching higher consciousness.
because of us, our consciousness
Yes.
uh, getting higher. My language is a little low at the moment for some reason or another. I guess a long work day will do that to you. But at
Yes.
what point do you feel that? At what point do you feel that happened? That we started to become
It
more
started
enlightened?
happening about 5 years ago. And
Yes.
it started happening. And for me, I know because things in me started tweaking and they gave me a Kundalini awakening about
Okay.
two years ago. And that totally freaked me out. And I did not know what it was. I do know now what it was. But what they were doing was opening my subconscious up into my human consciousness. And now I know because they showed me a vision and I demanded to know why this all was happening to me. What was the purpose? What is the meaning?
Mm-hmm.
And why is this happening to my two sons? Because they're a part of this too. I saw them taken for their
Okay.
first time. And
Whoa.
so it's been a lifelong thing for me. So uh, they showed me a vision and I made this choice to be here as a human, to have the human experience and be here at this pivotal time for humanity. This is the biggest thing that's ever happened for humanity. We are reaching a different dimension. We are reaching higher consciousness. And I
I'm
made a
ready.
choice to be here to help people understand, to clear up misinformation, and to help give the proper guidance and the things that need to be heard because we've been lied to for so long. The truth needs to come out.
You are. I mean, if to use a baseball analogy, you are the Babe Ruth of hitting it out of the park now. I mean, I go about it in a different way. You know, you're saying the same things that I'm saying, or the way I feel about things in life.
Yeah.
But you're saying it from a point of view that I can definitely connect to. Let me ask you a question, a little bit of a personal question. How does your family and your community like take in the information that you're now telling the world?
When I
How do
was
they
young,
respond
when I
to it?
was young, I was told, do not talk about this. This is considered a Bible Belt. So I learned very quickly that this was not a topic that I could talk to just anyone. And I've been through 2 divorces. So not every, relationship understands these things.
Hmm.
But when I hit 50, I said, I am who I am, and I'm going to make my webpage, and I'm going to do this. And I had nothing to stop me. Nobody, my parents weren't exactly happy with it but I decided, this is it. This is time. And
Yeah.
they always told
Yeah.
me I would know the right time. So I started off by doing the website, kind of
Okay.
gradually dipping
Could
my
you give us
toe
the name?
in.
Could you give us the name of the website? Well,
Timefordisclosure.com.
timefordisclosure.com. Go over there and check
Yeah.
that out, guys. This is good.
Yeah.
We
And
gotta.
the Facebook group is
I
Time for Disclosure / We Have Never Been Alone / We Are the Disclosure. And I think that at
I,
some point, we will all realize we don't need the governments to tell us. We are the group of humanity that is going to wake up and make changes in our life. All of us
yes.
are the disclosure. We are all the
Always.
disclosure.
There's one comedian in particular that I really like. His name is Doug Stanhope, and he's saying that democracy is maybe the worst form of government. We get to choose our leaders. He's like, I don't need to be led. You know what I mean?
No.
I'm doing pretty fine by myself. I don't need to be led by anyone. This
Well, that's
is
the goal. We're going to reach that intellectual level and realize all these old ways, all this programming. We've been programmed since the day we were born. We
it's
were
even
assigned
worse.
a
Oh my
security
God,
number.
definitely, Nancy.
We have been
Do you,
assigned a number, and we have been programmed and played like a puppet all our lives. And by the
all our
time we get
lives.
to a retirement age, we're too sick to enjoy it. Things need to
Yes.
change. We need to enjoy the human experience that we were supposed to enjoy and not be a slave to a system or a program. We should
Hmm.
be and they explained to me when I was in Mexico, they wanted me to see that dying race of the Zapotecs that live up on San Jose de Pacifico, but they're called the people of the clouds. They wanted me to meet them and see this indigenous tribe. They were on the verge of ascension themselves, but it plummeted for them because their younger generation got more fascinated with materialistic things and with technology. And so they all moved away, went to Mexico City, and then later moved to other countries looking to make more money. So they wanted me to look back and reflect and see a beautiful, eco-friendly area, people living at one and realizing their connectivity with nature and the world around and the universe, and how it fell apart because they were swayed by materialistic and technology. But they know that we're looking at a lot of AI technology. It's everywhere. You hear people saying this and that, good, bad. But what they told me is that AI technology is man-made. It is a
Okay.
man-made tool. Keep it as a man-made tool. Use it to benefit all of humanity, not just the elite, not just the
Yeah.
rich. It has to be used and controlled by us. We have a brain, we have intelligence. Be in charge. Don't let it run over things. We stay in charge and we use
Hmm.
it to benefit and better our lives. And they showed me visions of how it could be used and shared to where humans can learn to live nice lives and learn to work together and realizing come reaching higher consciousness and realizing that we are all one. That's another thing they wanted me to
Yes.
learn up there. They took me out into the woods and they took their hands out and they said, everything is alive. Everything is
Yes.
alive. And they said
Yes.
plants are living beings, flowers, trees, mushrooms, everything, water, the air, everything is a living being. Everything has a consciousness. Human beings
Yes.
are all living beings. And when you take off this, we are all energy beings and we are all one. And we're supposed to be all connected as one. And when we reach that unity, nothing can stop us, but we have to reach higher consciousness and
It's
realize
such
all
a
this.
such an interesting
Wake
thing
up.
because
Yeah.
yes,
Waking up
because
and realizing we are one and that we have capabilities that is just unbelievable. And the future is going to be beautiful with the right guidance. And that's the beautiful thing is that they're here to guide us. They are not here to take over. They're not here to control. They are not gods. They are not angels. They are simply ahead of us in evolution, and they've seen many, many beings throughout these universes and galaxies. And there's many, many, there's infinite numbers out there. They've seen many, many go through this stage of evolution and have misused their technology and wiped themselves out. And another thing is just, we were playing with nuclear weapons. And now they're wanting to go further into space and possibly take some kind of nuclear energy up in there. They're not going to allow that to happen
I've
because
there's been videos
out
of that
here,
where they actually shoot them down, right? Isn't there videos of them where they're
yeah, they've
actually shooting them
already
down?
turned off the power plants and things like that. But here's the reason it's not because we're so special. We are considered children to them, and they do consider us unique and special, but they love our planet. They love everything on our planet, all of the fauna, all of the jungles, all of the innocent indigenous people that are still here on Earth, all of the oceans and rivers and seas, et cetera, et cetera. We are just a very small fragment of everything they love about Earth. So
Yes.
when we start playing with nuclear weapons, not only does that create havoc within the balance of nature, the balance of our planet, it also ripples out into the universe because everything we do, we are all connected and we are connected with the universe, with the cosmic realm, and with extraterrestrials and interdimensionals because they did play a part in our creation.
I find it so interesting because before we started recording, we were talking about me living in Mexico and about you going up to this mountain where it's like a sacred mushroom place. And they said
Yes,
to
it
you that
is.
you didn't need it because you were already connected, and they were
Right.
correct because it's very interesting because what you're telling me about being one with the plants, the fauna,
Mhm,
the what's the other word, flora and the fauna, and all
mhm.
that everything is one and connected. I got that through psychedelics. You understand what I mean?
Absolutely.
And
They
you
showed me
got
a
that.
vision. Yeah, the tree was laughing, standing there laughing at me.
Okay.
And I asked the interdimensional, why is he laughing? He said, he's laughing at you because humans run around chomping them down, yet we would not be able to breathe and live without all the plants and trees and all the fauna. And the tree was
Hmm.
laughing at us because we don't know. We're
Even
so
the word.
lower conscious. We're so lower conscious, we don't know what we're doing. And from what
Mhm.
they told me is that everything is alive. Everything around us. There's things going on all around us. We don't see it because we're in a 3D world, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. Our scientists even know that trees communicate. They've proven that.
Yes.
And at some
Yes.
point, as we reach higher consciousness, we'll start to see and be more aware of these things. But it's like our planet is alive and conscious, and she's going through an ascension right now herself. And they have all been sitting here patiently waiting for us to reach higher consciousness and realize our connection and how we all need to work together. And as a whole planet,
Uh
everything,
huh.
we're all
How do
connected,
you,
we're all one.
yeah, Nancy? How do you feel that we should help raise the collective consciousness of our fellow human beings to see the way
Having
to see the
podcasts.
world the way, because my feeling is love. If you do
Yeah.
little things with big love, which is kind of a Mother Teresa quote, I think, but it is true. The more love
Yes.
you put out, because people say, well, how are you going to change climate change, or how are you going to change bad governments? How are you going to change all this stuff? It's like, if everyone were, it's the golden rule. Like, if you treat and love everyone as if you wish to be treated, and just do that with everybody, it's so
For me,
simple. It's so
for
easy.
me, it is, for me, I see it as a change of personal attitude, a different frame of mind. First of all, forget negativity, forget looking at the bad things in the world. If you have a negative thought, replace it with 2 positive thoughts. Work at being a more positive human being, and eliminate
Hmm.
watching these negative things on TV. I don't even, my TV does not even come on. And then I pick and choose what I want off of Netflix or whatever. I don't
Yep.
even subscribe to cable or anything or watch the news, because I'm not buying into that, and I'm not feeding into that, because that is purposely done to keep us in a negative frame of mind and keep us at a lower consciousness. So
Absolutely.
once we all start doing that, and the thing is, from what I'm around people, the more positive I am, the happier I am. It's like kind of like a virus. It flows off into other people noticing it, and they want to be like that. They want that energy. They want it. And once you feel that positive energy in your frequency rising, it feels so good. You want it more. It's like a
Yes.
natural high. It is.
Unless you live in Germany, because I
Yeah.
lived there for 20 years of my life, and I would go to work and I would laugh and joke around. I would do my job. I do it well. But they would literally look at me like, and like if I laughed, they would look at me like, "What's wrong with you?" And they would say, "How is it that you're so happy?" And I would just positively spin it back and say, "Well, how is it that you're not so happy?"
That's exactly what you need to do.
You know,
And,
instead of saying, "Why
you
are you
know,
mad?" You don't do it that way. You
right.
do it the other
But the
way.
thing is, the way that I understand it and the way that they showed it to me is that it's not something that's going to happen overnight. But the
Hmm.
more that we educate people on this, the more that I can share this and you share your podcast, and the
Yes,
more that
ma'am.
you get people to thinking more positive, and them realizing that love cure is the cure for everything. You know, wars
Yes.
have never ever accomplished anything.
Nope.
Never. Negativity has never ever accomplished anything. And
No.
all it does is bring the world down around you. And that is a form of intentional manipulation that we have
Yes.
been programmed to be. So we have to change our frame of thinking and realize that we've been manipulated and
Nancy,
make the move.
write a
Yes,
book for the
I
love of
am.
for the
I
love
am.
of God. I don't know if you're religious or not. I'm not. I believe
I,
in God,
I
or
am.
I'm
Okay,
not
well, let me tell
religious.
you. Yeah, I've never been, I'm not, I believe that I can, if I want to have a talk with creator source, I
Hmm.
don't believe in man-made religions. I don't
There you
believe,
go.
in, you know, I extraterrestrials, interdimensionals, they all have souls and they believe in a creator source. Creator source is not what man-made religions have dreamed up. It's something much bigger, much more
They've
unbelievable.
they've
Yes,
told you that they believe in a creator source as well,
yes, they believe in
or
a
they
creator source,
have.
but it's not our versions at all, at
Oh, no,
all.
no, 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 no. You know, that was that's always been me. I mean, for a long time, I was a staunch atheist for many, many years. So I was at the age of
Mhm.
19 to the age of 36 when my daughter was born, and then
Yeah.
I've seen her, and I was like, no, there's something much more going on here.
Well, the
And
creator source would never throw fear into you to make you believe and do anything. That's all man made junk. So, I don't even want to go there because a lot of people aren't ready for that. But the thing is, the evidence has been around us all our life. And I reckon they kept us so dumbed down, it didn't click. But as we
mm,
reach higher consciousness, it's going to go click, 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 ding,
yeah, it's
ding, ding.
gonna,
And
yeah,
we're all going to
exponentially.
wake up. Yeah.
Yes. So
And
are you telling? So there's this.
spread. It will spread
Mhm.
just like anything. It will spread. Yeah.
Yeah. So if there's a creator source, a higher consciousness, that means there's a greater good. So there also has to
Yes.
be a greater evil as well, or a greater bad.
There is
What
no
would you?
hell.
There is no. That's not what I mean. That's
Yeah.
a colloquial term that we use to describe
To
that
scare
through
people.
our iconography that
Fear.
we've been. Yes,
Yeah.
but there has to be. There has to be. I'm kind of using a little bit of Eastern mysticism
Let me
to try to
explain.
explain this. Okay, sure. That's what I was asking.
I was a interdimensional before I came here. I incarnated here to be here to help human beings, help humanity reach higher consciousness. All human beings, we are in a vessel. When we leave this vessel, our life is not over. It is never over. We are basically immortal. We move on and we go up to creator source. We go before a group of elders. And before we ever come to earth, we have a soul contract. We make agreements before we ever get here. And unfortunately, we forget all of our past. And the reason they did that was so that everything here was a new learning experience. Coming to earth is a experience. It is a school. It is basically a school with a lot of experiences. So a lot of the people make decisions on how long they're even going to be here and have this experience. So, but once you leave this vessel and you go up before the elders, you make a decision on whether if you have reached what you agreed on your contract, what your agreements and what you wanted to accomplish. If you have not, you can come back and reincarnate back on earth as a human. If you have reached all the things that you wanted to accomplish while here on earth, you can choose to be interdimensional, or you could be a dolphin or whatever, and you can experience that. And then when you reach that, when you get to a certain point where you felt like you've dealt and reached these agreements, you can stay in etheric form and be up in a non-physical etheric state and live forever in that form.
Wow.
So
It's so interesting.
Our life
It's so
does not
interesting
end
yeah.
here. It does not end here.
No.
This is
No.
The human experience is the shortest life experience of all beings throughout the galaxy and all universes. And we're not getting to enjoy ours, and that needs to change. We need to be enjoying.
It's so interesting how, like, the things you're saying, there's many. There's a saying. There's many roads to Rome. And you're saying it from a point of view that I think more people need to hear for sure. That's why you're on the show with me.
Yeah.
But there's
And you've heard that
there's people,
saying, as above, so below.
So below, that's a Hermetic principle. Like, the religions will say, we're here. This is a place to learn, and then you go to heaven. Why can't heaven be another word for what you're saying? If you're in Hinduism, they're saying there's reincarnation. So that's what you're saying. But so they all have pieces of the same puzzle, and you, my friend, are putting those together.
And a lot of people ask me, well, if the interdimensionals and extraterrestrials are up there, why aren't they curing cancer, stopping wars and stuff? We are here on free will. By laws of the cosmic realm, they are not supposed to overstep these boundaries. And I was an interdimensional before I came here. If I were to get cancer, they could cure me and it wouldn't be overstepping a boundary. But if someone else has cancer or whatever, we don't know what kind of soul contracts they had, And if they have a soul contract, they cannot overstep that boundary. Like they may have said, I only want to stay for my human experience for 29 years. For whatever reason, or they may want to experience having a disease, which sounds really weird to people, but there's a lot of
it makes perfect sense to me. It makes a lot of sense. Makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. Now, I have a question. It's one about myself. I've always felt, at least since I was 21, I remember telling my ex-wife, I would say, you know, I love it here, but I don't feel that I'm from here. Is that a normal feeling?
I always felt that way.
Because I can't
I always
explain
felt that way.
the feeling. I can never explain it quite, but it's a deep, deep feeling that I've had where
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not from here. I love it here. This place is wonderful and beautiful, but I feel that I'm from somewhere else, and I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Can
I
you
think a lot
expand
of
maybe
people
upon
feel
that?
that way. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
what I think for that situation is to meditate. Ask your subconscious to open into your human consciousness. Tell your subconscious, I am ready to know my past life. I'm ready to know who I am. I want to know who my soul is. Not for me. I don't want to. I don't want to know about the Nancy that the world has programmed and formed me into. I wanted to
Mhm.
know my soul and my soul
The
purpose,
true,
who I
the
was
true
before,
I.
who I truly am, why I'm truly
Mhm.
here, and what my purpose in life and what I'm here to accomplish. And I think that will happen. And I think that's why that Kundalini awakening happened to me, was
Experience you had,
because
yes.
it
Mhm.
opened up my subconscious. And when that happened, it scared me to death. I did not know what it
Oh,
was. And I
oh
think
yeah.
as everybody starts reaching higher consciousness here on earth, may experience the Kundalini awakening. And
I
it's for
think
that
we're
very
well on our
reason
way.
to,
I
yeah,
feel right now. I don't know if you feel this too. This is just my subjective experience. I feel that the people who are expanding their consciousness are pulling away, like you were saying, exponentially faster, and you see
yeah.
from above the people below who are constantly on their phones,
Yeah.
who are constantly
And
taking
you'll
pictures of
find yourself
themselves.
walking away from negative aspects of life, even some people that you love, but there's some negativity and stuff that you just simply, it no longer
Can't.
serves you. It no longer serves
No,
you.
I
And you just
can't.
have to walk away, you know.
I've always been a
But
person to have to express myself. I have to express myself. I'm also a stand-up comic, and I have to say what I feel because I feel to me liberty is number one. Without that, I don't have anything. I really feel
yeah.
that way. So
Mhm.
I have to be able to express myself and tell
Mhm.
other people how I feel. So if anyone ever tries to tell me I can't say this, I can't do that, as long as I'm not hurting someone, of course, then I feel they are a hindrance to my existence. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Maybe this is my calling. Maybe to do this show
well,
that I'm
you have
doing.
to consider the source of who's doing it. And, you know, their purpose might be to hinder higher consciousness. You
They've
don't
been
know.
compromised. Or they've been
Yeah.
compromised and programmed like we once
Yes.
were. That's the interesting
Yes.
thing is when you realize how well you've been programmed, I
Oh,
can
yeah.
still remember TV commercials from the 80s. That's programming. Why do you think they call
Oh,
it television
absolutely.
programming?
Yeah. I mean,
Television
it started from
programming.
the minute we were born. It started from the
Yes,
minute
ma'am.
we're born. And
Sign a
it's
number, as you
nobody's
said.
fault. Our parents didn't know any better. It's just the way things were. But it's
Yes.
all changing now. It is
It's all
changing.
changing now. It's I so this book. So this book. Let's get into this book. You're working on a book, and it's about everything that you're talking about, or some other stuff that you're not
Yeah,
going to be
it'll be
telling me
about
about.
that and basically all my experiences and things like that. I don't know when I'll have it done, but and
No.
I probably will get some help with it from like a ghostwriter or something.
Yeah,
And
because
but
I was thinking about writing it too.
I'm not a so-called writer, but I do
No.
have a lot of experiences and um so yeah,
Well,
I'm really interested in doing
I
that.
believe to give you a bit of a compliment. I think you're a well-orated person. You're a well-spoken person.
Thank
So, I
you.
mean, yes, it takes. Have you been speaking at conferences and things of that nature?
I'm starting to do that. Yeah.
There you go.
Mhm.
So, do you
And
enjoy that? Meeting other
I'm getting really
experiencers?
big into MUFON, being
Move
a
on. Okay.
spokesperson for different MUFONs and throughout different countries. And I'm trying to reach that uh, the MUFON in Mexico, and I don't know a lot of the people, and I don't know foreign languages, so there's a language barrier. But
Yeah.
but
It's
I'm
also part of the
reaching
human
out
experience. Do
because
you
this is not about America. This is
no.
not America. This is about the whole world. This
We
is
just
a
happen to be
worldwide.
we just happen to both be English speakers. Eventually I'm going to I want to put this into Spanish somehow, to
That would be
reach an
great.
audience of people, and eventually my Spanish will be good enough to where I can actually maybe I can do it in German already, but I want to do that too. My question I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you is that when you reach out and you're going to these conferences, do you find it to be um, a great feeling, or at least a really good feeling, to speak to an experiencer like yourself who takes it in a negative way because of their programming, and you're able to maybe reach them? You know what I'm saying? You understand
When I'm
the
talking to
concept?
these people, like I've been on like some experiencer panels and things like that, and some of the things that they're saying, I simply know that it is not true.
Okay.
And I just have to I guess you have to pick and choose your battles wisely, but I do see a lot of people are just, they're not for real.
Oh
Even,
yes.
and
Oh yes.
especially a lot, and I found out too that, a lot of people pay to get themselves at a conference, and, they really have no experiences. So
Mm-hmm.
I basically leave it up to creator source and to the interdimensionals and the
Mm-hmm.
positive extraterrestrials to lead me and guide me in the right ways. And so far it's working, you
What I
know.
meant, what I meant, Nancy, was when I'm sure you've probably met somebody, young man, young woman, who's had similar experiences to as you have, but but if to them it's very negative and scary. Like,
Yeah,
so when you're
yeah,
speaking with other people, do you find it's helpful that
it
you
does.
reach out to other people who have the same things happen
Yes,
to them?
because it was very real to them at the time. And
Mm-hmm.
I understand that because I've talked to Travis Walton. I've talked to people like that. The movie was called Fire in the Sky, and he wrote
Oh,
his book about an autobiography about this, and how he felt at the time and how he feels now is quite different. He now knows that it wasn't, he doesn't feel so much like an abductee anymore. He realizes they saved his life. They could have left him there in the middle of the woods and let him die because he was exposed to radiation poisoning, and they carried him on craft and healed him back to the way he was. And they
wow.
did that because they're benevolent, loving beings. Even the ones that have done abductions and things, in their eyes, they were doing nothing wrong. It's really no different than us going out as a zookeeper or a zoology or a hunter, where you get an animal, tag it, examine it, take a specimen from it, a
Hmm.
biologist or whatever. It's really no different. They were doing their research, and it was
Okay.
misunderstood by most people because us being human beings, and when we first came into existence here on Earth, we had that caveman mentality because everything around us was a predator. So
Okay.
when we see something that we don't understand and our brain doesn't know what to do with it, we have this fear or flight panic
Hmm.
mode that sets in. So when that happens, our judgment and our perception of what happening, everything changes, and it's our perception is poor of the situation because
Yeah.
we're scared, feared.
Uh-huh. So
So
this raising of the consciousness is probably where I think the internet has a big part of it, oddly enough.
it
That,
does,
like,
yeah.
because it allows the technology that we are now using, this particular technology is being broadcasted to anyone who is being shown it or
They
searches
can't hide
for it.
anything from us
They
anymore.
can't. Well, there's still people who try to. There's
Oh,
certain things on
absolutely.
YouTube that you cannot say. There's certain
Oh, I
things that you
know.
can't
And
say.
Facebook's pretty bad about like knocking people.
Facebook's, yeah, awful,
Yeah.
awful. We have individual fact checkers. Fact checkers on what? What are you fact checking? Why are you trying to quell my
Yeah.
ability to say what it is I want to say with my life?
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, let me be the individual who listens to whatever it is that you have to say
Mhm.
and make a judgment for myself.
Yeah.
But still, at the same time, the good parts of it is that people see through that already now. Like I was saying at
Yeah.
the beginning, they overplayed their hand. They overplayed their hand, and they can't stop
Mhm.
this wave of higher consciousness and positivity.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
And,
it's fantastic.
and when the good versus the evil, in the end, the good will overpower. It may not happen like that. It may not happen as fast as we want it, but it will happen. And all of this
Yeah.
is going to happen. And I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen in between the points, but it is going to happen. And it's going to change humanity. It's going to change the future. It's going to change everything. And our quality of life will be better. And even if these things don't happen for us, we are the stepping stones. We'll go down in history as being the generation that made a difference for humanity. I
Wow,
know that
that's
for a
a
fact.
what a
Yes.
great way to close out this episode of the Eye of Jupiter. Nancy,
Mhm.
you have been amazing. Thank you
Thank
so much.
you. I've enjoyed
Whenever
it.
that book is out, you're definitely coming
I
back,
will.
and we'll stay in contact. And I'm sure we'll find another
Yes.
topic to talk about. Sure.
Yep.
And
I've got a lot of
do
experiences we didn't even
oh
talk
yeah,
about.
we'll go into the experience. This is kind of like an overview, like the
Yeah.
introduction in a book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just I kind of like to get to know you, who you are as a person, and
Yes. That'd be
how you feel
wonderful.
about things. Yes, and for me, a lot of people like to go into the X's and O's of everything. What was the shape of the ship and what color, which is fine. You know what I mean? Which is fine, but it doesn't get to what really is the point, in my opinion. But there's people who want to hear that too, and that's what we'll have you on next time for.
Yeah. Well, I just want to be truthful and honest, and I ask for guidance. I meditate before I come on and do these podcasts because I want to be relatable to everybody, and I want to be truthful and honest because we've been lied to for so long, and there's so
Hmm.
much misinformation, and people deserve the truth.
Yes.
They deserve proper information so they can make the proper decisions for themselves.
Yes. And a
Yeah.
little word of advice: the more often you do these podcasts and these interviews, the more relaxing it becomes.
Yeah.
It really will. If you always speak from the true, I always call it the true I, the I. Speak from your heart, speak
Yeah.
from positivity and where you want it, what you're actually trying to say. It becomes much more easy because if you're trying to present yourself as something that you're not, in the end, people will see through that.
Yeah. That would
Yeah.
make total sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So one
thank
more
you for
time.
having me.
No, it was all those words that I wasn't able to say. Do me a favor one more time. Could you tell us the name of your Facebook page and the name of your website?
Timefordisclosure.com. And the website is timefordisclosure / we have never been alone / we are the ones the world's been waiting on.
Yes.
And I'm constantly always wanting to add something, but basically we are the disclosure. I like that one because I don't think we don't need the government. We don't need anything. We are getting there on our own and we will know it ourselves.
Nancy, thank you so much for coming on and spreading
Thank
such
you.
great information and positivity. I really appreciate it. Do me a favor, stick around. I want to talk to you after the show, and I
Okay.
want to make sure that all the recordings went well. So
Okay. Sounds great.
I'll see. Yeah, I'll see you in a second. Thank you.
Okay.
So that was Nancy Thames. That was awesome. Thank you so much, Nancy, for coming on. And if you guys enjoy what I do, please do me a favor and just kind of help me in the algorithm so more people get to hear what these conversations are about, because I enjoyed it and I hope you enjoyed them as well. And remember, we are the eye and we are aware. Thank you all very much for watching. Love you.